Hey, this is Alyssa from Kiwi Banana, and today I'm going to talk about dumpster diving. Now, before I get further into this video, I just want to say that obviously I encourage I encourage stores to not chuck out their food and to donate it to those in need. However, the fact of the matter is a lot of places are chucking out food and aren't giving it to charities, whether that be because it costs them too much money, to do that, or there's some legality issues around that because of maybe food and safety laws, local laws that are in place. Also, leading on from that, I also want to say that you will need to do your own research around the legality and the food and safety laws of doing such an activity. I do not take responsibility of any of your actions that you do following watching this video. I'm just sharing my experience and some things that I have seen through doing this activity. Now, I personally have a few places that I'm able to easily access on a bicycle, even though I live on a hill within a 2-kilometre radius of where I live. Now, I don't grab everything that I see, and I don't do this every day. However, I am vegan, and I am also currently without work while I'm recording this video. I don't have any access to social welfare, and I don't have any access to financial support from a family or from a partner. So therefore, for me to be able to continue, to not be homeless and all of that sort of stuff, I am using this as a way to help with my, me to be able to eat. When I am working, I tend to do this less often. But when I am not working, which has happened a number of times the last couple of years that I have been living here in Brisbane, I have sought to these kind of measures to make sure that I can still eat well and not lose the roof over my head at the same time. Now, most of what I collect is fruits and vegetables, which is great because those tend to be the most healthiest things. And they tend to be from grocery-styled bins. I don't dumpster dive restaurants. I feel like it's just a little bit more involved when you get into those kind of bins. Now, a lot of the food has nothing wrong with it, and a lot of it, if it has a use-by date, is often within the use-by date, even if it's still got a couple of days left on the use-by date. Now, I also, because I'm vegan, I don't eat the flesh of animals, I don't eat dairy, I don't eat eggs, and I don't eat things that contain those kind of foods. So therefore, I automatically reduce my risk of becoming sick from the food that I get from the bin. However, that doesn't mean that the risk is completely eliminated. You can still get sick from eating food from a bin, even if it is vegan, and I'm just yet to experience that. Touch wood. I don't like plastic. However, when the food is in plastic and if the packaging isn't broken, it doesn't mean it has to be in plastic, but when it's in a packaging and the packaging isn't damaged or hasn't got holes in it, that can also reduce some of the food and food safety risks as well. Always wash your food, if not once, at least twice as well. If I've got an apple, I'm going to wash that apple. If I've got a box of granola, then I'm probably going to take the cardboard and put it in the recycle bin, and if it's got another set of packaging in the inside, I'm not going to go ahead and wash every little grain of granola, because if the packaging is still fine, it's fine. You get what I mean. I'm over explaining it here. Obviously store it properly, so if it needs to be stored in a cool place, do that. If it needs to be stored in the fridge, or if it needs to go in the freezer, then do that. You don't want to dumpster dive it and then just leave it hanging around in a warm place when it really shouldn't be there. Also, another thing, if you go with friends or if you have a vehicle and there is a lot there, then you may want to look at maybe grabbing a little bit extra so you can gift it to friends. You may also want to tell them where it's from. I feel, for me personally, it's important that I disclose that the food has come from the dumpster, because I feel like then that person is able to decide whether they want to eat their food or not. I know if I was in their position, that's how I'd feel. You can make that decision yourself. But you could also have things like dumpster diving potluck dinners, or you could donate it to charities, just depending on the charity and whether they'll take that kind of thing as well. And sometimes you'll find non-food items in the bin, so they could be like cleaning products or toiletries. I know some people may also dumpster dive sort of like departments like stores where they'll find clothes and all sorts of that stuff. Now, I don't tend to take the things like the toiletries and cleaning products and whatnot for environmental and health reasons. Plus, I'm also very minimalistic when it comes to those kind of things. However, they can last a long time. They could be an eco-friendly kind of variety, or you might just know someone that was really in need of these kind of things and you can gift it to them. And next I want to go into the tips. So some things that you may not have thought of if you're doing dumpster diving or you want to do dumpster diving. Excuse me. If you can find a tap near the dumpster that you're diving, that is great, because then you can wash your hands pretty much straight after you've gotten in the bin, or you could wear some gloves as well. Take a torch or a light. You generally do not want to be dumpster diving at the store when the store is still open, so usually that's going to be at night when it's dark, and you want to be able to see what you're doing, because it could be dangerous. There could be sharp things in there. There could be all sorts of things in there that you can't really see until you've got a light. Cardboard boxes. Now, they're really good for storing your food. So if you get a couple of items, you want to take them to your car, or if obviously for me, because I'm on a bike, I have a backpack, so I just put the food in the backpack. But if you're in a vehicle and you want to carry a lot of stuff, having some boxes are great. Also, you might have some boxes. There could be some boxes there that are broken down, that are clean. Well, clean, you know what's clean. They don't have food on them, should I say. And you might be able to sort of rip a bit off that, or use the whole box as a kind of a barrier. Because sometimes when you're leaning into the bin can be really dirty, and your clothes and all that can get quite dirty. But if you've got a bit of cardboard over the edge of the bin, that kind of prevents that happening. It's kind of like a barrier. Also, if you've got any sort of devices that could help with picking up the item. I know I've got a mate who sometimes uses this thing where you just kind of like squeeze it, and it's got a really long arm on it, and it'll just pick up things like that. That can be really good, because sometimes you can't reach all the way to the bottom or reach the kind of food that you want. And I'm not really one that, I don't really like it when I see someone get in the bin, because I feel like there's a potential of them to crush lots of food in there that could be really good. So I prefer it when people don't actually get fully in, but if you've got devices to be able to get things, then that's really good. And there's also sort of an unspoken etiquette about it. So, you don't leave the place a mess. You try and cover up your tracks. So if you've ripped open a bag, try and put the bag back where you found it and not have the rip open part of the bag exposed at the top. Because then the store owners may then consider locking the bins. And if they do that, then, that's not going to stop them from chucking away food. It just means they're going to chuck away food, it's going to be locked up, and then no one will be able to access it. Not just you, but anyone else that might have been dumpster diving the bin. Which also comes into the point of, if you're there and other people are already there, or they turn up, share the food that you have with it. Offer that, like, there's 4 bunches of bananas, and then you find another bunch of bananas. And there's like, it's like, hey, do you want a bunch of bananas? Do you want some this? It's a sharing thing. It's just a sort of unwritten etiquette of, like you're sharing the food with the other people that are there. Often they might be a regular dumpster diver as well. So, yeah, it can become a bit of a community. I've even made friends and met people at the dumpster before, which is really nice, And I've even seen friends at the dumpster that they didn't know that I dumpster dived, and I didn't know they dumpster dive. So it can be quite somewhat of a social thing if you want to look at it that way. But yeah, it's obviously, you want to be quiet, you want to not bring any sort of extra attention to yourself when doing it, and I guess that's my experience with dumpster diving. I'm not really, like I'd tell some people, it's not, sometimes depending on the person and depending on the environment, I'm not going to just openly say, yeah, I get in the dumpster and I dumpster dive for food. But, that's something that some friends of mine know about me, and just the way I see it is like, well, the food is going to waste. It's not going to people who actually need it, and if it's there and I am not really in a place where I can afford to buy the food, then I don't see why not. Plus, if you get a lot of it, you can share it amongst other people as well. I live in a share house, and you know, so I've been to a dumpster before with a friend, and we found 8 boxes of bananas. That's just at one dumpster. We've been to a dumpster before, and we've found 12 whole watermelons. Nothing wrong with it. You know what I'm talking about? Like, it's a substantial amount of food sometimes that gets chucked away, and it can be really sad to see. But I guess, you know, it's another way to look at it is like, okay, well, it's not going to complete waste. And if you've got access to a composting system, maybe you're growing your own garden, or you're part of a community that's doing that sort of stuff, you know, and you know, maybe you even want to take the food out that's bad because you can see that it could be good in your soil. Do that. I mean, organic stores, you know, bulk food stores, they are great if you can dumpster dive those, but I've found most of those sort of ones are locked up and not able to be accessed, because that's like really good quality food. But yeah, a lot of the food that I access is probably more that conventional type, but you know, it's the old saying of beggars can't be choosers. So I take what I can and what I like, and yeah. I mean, I know some people call themselves freegan, so they'll eat food that's not vegan if they get it from the dumpster. I'm not at that place. I don't feel the need or the desire, or you know, I care too much about not putting that sort of stuff in my food to do that. I don't feel it would do me any good, and don't feel like it would vibe with who I am and where I'm at. Plus, you know, yes, okay, so you haven't paid for the item, but it just doesn't feel great. I know for my health and also my own kind of spiritual well-being that it's not a good thing for me. You know, obviously you're not adding any more like animal exploitation to a certain extent to it, and you're not really adding any more sort of environmental impact to it, but I still don't feel great about it. Plus, you know, if I'm promoting this like it's not really a good thing to do, why would I then consume it in front of other people and say it's okay? So yeah, I digress a little bit there in the end, but let me know if you've had any experience with doing some dumpster diving, or you've been thinking about doing it. Let me know if you live in Brisbane. I might be able to give you some more personal sort of ideas of where you might be able to go to do that. Leave those in the comment section down below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.